Hey guys, here's our second part on the objection management. You know, when you hear an objection for a customer, take a second to pause. Reflect on what was just said. In fact, when you do that, you're telling the customer you're really listening. So when they say something to you, count to yourself, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then answer the question. You know, many times the objection is repeated, it sounds foolish to them. So if you restate it back to them, so what you're saying is, and they go, oh, no, never mind, forget that. You know, ask them to elaborate. Tell your customer, tell me more about what you're saying. Tell me more why you're saying that. You know, allows them to think about their response and for them to maybe restate the objection. You know, it also allows the tension to decrease, because let's face it, when you get down to the nitty-gritty, trying to make that deal, there's tension. As much as we want to be non-confrontational, there's still some tension. People are going to feel that. They're going to feel that pressure. So it gives them a chance to kind of, you might say, you know, let them vent. Let them just relax. It's kind of like a turbocharger. You got that release valve. It lets the pressure out. You know, again, you're helping to build and maintain rapport. That's always something you're working at. You know, affirm the question. You know, it knocks the chip off their shoulder by saying to them, you know, I understand what you're saying. Other customers have felt the same way. But after they've explored a little further, here's what they found. Makes perfect sense to me. I understand. Sure. If that's what you're thinking, absolutely. Almost agree with them. Almost agree with them. And you're going to find that they'll sometimes back away from that objection. But that's telling them you're understanding. You know, I understand how you feel. I do understand. Let's look at it this way. Or let's look at it that way. Or would you consider it like this? You know, I'll go back to when we were talking about books and reading is fundamental. I said green eggs and ham. Find every which way that you can present this deal to the customer. Reassure them that you understand and that you're here to come to a resolution. You're here to help them make an educated, intelligent, informed decision. You know, when you're looking to uncover that real objection, you got to persist. You got to push a little. We've told you that before. Push a little. Give the customer the help that he needs or she needs to make that decision. Again, sometimes they just misunderstood you. Sometimes there's a misconception. You know, you've heard these things time and again. You know, sometimes it's simply a stall tactic. They want time to think. They want time to formulate in their mind what they're going to say next. So relax. Doesn't have to be fast. Has to be efficient. Take your time to understand. And, you know, and tell them, why do you feel that way? Why do you say that? Why is one of the most important words in the English language. Why do you say that? Why do you feel that way? Why? Why not? Tell me more. Help me understand. And let them elaborate with you. Once you've isolated the objection, you want to simply state to them, is there anything else that would be in the way of you making a decision tonight? Is there anything else? If they say no, say, so what you're telling me is, if we can satisfy your concern, we can do business. Is that correct? And yes. And they'll move forward with the deal. So isolate it. All right, now there are some predictable objections. These are things that are pretty standard. You're going to hear time and again. And guess what? You hear them time and again. How good should you get at handling these? You should be real good. So here are some of the things you'll hear, and you're going to hear them hundreds of times. I want to think it over. Well, if they say that to you, what are they really saying? I'm interested, but I got to give it some more consideration. So you say to them, I appreciate that you want to think it over. Did you feel you need a couple of days to do that? But let's be certain you have all the information you need to make an educated, intelligent decision. If you could please, tell me what you wanted to think about specifically. Is it this? Is it this? Is it that? Try and bring it out. Because maybe at that point they're not really telling you why they want to think about it. Maybe they're just trying to end that meeting and move on to the next one. I never buy from the first company I speak with. One of the things I want you to try and not do is ever ask, who else have you spoken to? Because if they tell you you're the first person we've called, or I've spoken to the world and you're next, either one of those are going to turn you off. So you don't want to know. When you make an appointment, Mr. and Mrs. Customer, see you Tuesday night at 7:15, go to the house. I could care less if they've spoken to everyone in the yellow pages or if you're the very first person to ring their doorbell. It doesn't matter. But you're going to be the best person, and that's going to separate you from the rest. I need to run it by my lawyer, my aunt, my uncle, my friend, my buddy, my pal, whoever. People always rely on other people to make their decisions. People go into situations where they're buying something and they bring a friend along. That's what we call the maven, or that's what we call the sea lawyer. That's the person that's out there. They're not buying, but they're making the decision. And that does happen. I need to get 3 bids. I want to get 2 other bids and I want to compare. Well, see, that's very hard to do because you have to compare apples to apples. And when 2 companies come in, they may be using other materials, a different labor force, whatever it may be. There's sometimes not going to be any similarities. It's strictly going to be a price decision. You know, or they say to you, I had no idea that it would be that expensive. What were you anticipating? What were you budgeting for this particular renovation? What did you have in mind? Maybe we can take a part of it away. Maybe we can do it in stages. Get what you want. Don't compromise what you want. Get the product you want, but maybe we do it over a period of time. We do part 1, part 2, part 3, and by the end of the installation, you have exactly what you wanted, and you amortize the investment over a period of time. Very easy to do, not difficult at all, and I think you can handle that one most effectively. Now, again, you're always building value. When you're looking at people that are trying to make decisions, you're trying to help them make decisions, but you're always trying to add value. You have scales of value. You're always trying to tip those scales in your favor, not the other way, in your favor. It's really interesting how it works. You can do this. I know you can do this. You know, your home is your most important asset. When you're making investments in your home, you're making investments in the future value of your home. What you're talking about is going to add value to your home. There's a TV show on Home and Garden, which is called Bang for the Buck. Well, you know, with this investment, you're going to get the most bang for your buck. You're doing a wonderful installation. You're doing a wonderful renovation. You're adding a lot of value to your home. You know, and homeowners like you want to add value to their home. You're planning on staying here for another 5, 10, 15, 20 years. Why not? This is your residence. This is where you live. Make it exactly what you want. If they want to think it over, why don't we think it over together? What is it you want to think about? Simple things you can do. Sometimes what you want to do, say, what, folks, you know what, I'll step outside. I'll give you people 5 or 10 minutes to make a decision, think about it, maybe formulate some additional questions. I'll come back in and we'll see if we can come to some resolution. Very, very simple stuff. You know, when you look at you going in to sell these folks and get an agreement, that's game time. That's when it happens. You're paid on commissions. You're paid on what you sell. The company doesn't pay you. Your company doesn't give you your income. The customer gives you your income. So when you're doing your job with the customer, that's what's paying you. They are. Work for them. You represent your company, you work for your customers. Hear that. You represent your company, you work for your customers. You know, you've got to work it out. Work it out. If you hear objections over and over again, write them down, study them, write some statements back, figure out how you can do it, create a process to overcome those objections. And I'm telling you that if you'll do the things we're telling you to do, success is within your grasp. It's very easy to be successful when you have the tools. You know, a quick story, my son, when he graduated from high school back some years ago, he said, Dad, I want tools. He was learning to be a mechanic, a technician, they called him today. And he said, I need tools. I said, okay, let's go to Sears. I'm going to buy you Snap-on. I'm going to buy you Craftsman tools. Let me back that up, Craftsman tools. And he said, no, Dad, I don't want Craftsman. I want Snap-on. Snap-on. Well, Snap-on is a very expensive tool. So I said, well, why Snap-on? Because it's the best. I says, Mark, you know what? I want you to be the best. But let me tell you something about tools. Let me tell you something about the things we just discussed. These are tools in a toolbox. If you don't know what drawer they're in or how to access that tool, they're totally ineffective. And I will tell you, like I told my son, those are the best tools. These are the best skills we can give you. But if you don't know how to use them, they're ineffective. You have got to know what drawer to open, what statement to make, what comment to respond back with, and you got to do it with split-second timing. And when you do that, you're going to be successful. I personally guarantee it. Hey, Ronnie C. telling you, get out there and be a winner. I know you can do it. You know you can do it. We've given you the toolbox. Open the right drawer. Apply that tool to the situation you've got, and I assure you, you're going to be a winner. See you.